Welcome. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening. Good night, wherever you are in the world. I know we're back on the BNS podcast. My guest today is Tara from Oregon. And Tara, how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm great.
Good. It's uh, it's a 3 hours difference between where we are in the DMV area and where you guys are in Portland. Am I correct?
That is correct.
What's the weather like out there?
It is unusually springy and sunny today
That's good.
because we're coming out of a long rainy season. So it's the days when you start to think, oh, that's why I live in Oregon.
so you begin to enjoy your time. Thanks for making
Yes.
out time to join us on the podcast today. Um, you have a very interesting story. My team have insisted that we touch as much as we can with you. Give us a bit of your background for our audience who come across the world.
Sure. Well, until about 15 years ago, my background was pretty boring, actually. I was a mom of three little kids, and I worked in the nonprofit world in nonprofit management and had a pretty boring life up until that point. And at that point 15 years ago, my husband and I took in a couple of nieces that were coming in as foster kids to us. They'd come from a background of really horrific childhood abuse and had a lot of mental health problems. And we entered into a season of a crash course of learning everything about mental health because the girls came to us with suicidality and depression and PTSD, and it was a whole awakening. And so we've walked alongside those girls as they've grown up and worked hard to heal. And I became a speaker, a professional speaker on mental health, because I wanted to end the isolation and the shame that so many people feel around mental health in their families.
Mhm.
And so I speak about that. I'm also an author, and I'm a mom of three kids, one of whom as she grew up, we discovered had major depressive disorder as well. And so I
Wow.
have been on this journey of learning how to walk alongside people with mental health issues.
Well done. Well done. because there's a lot of that around in today's world, and most people don't know where to seek help and how to find help. But you've made yourself available to be a source of encouragement and help for others in your family. You became a foster mother to your young teenage nieces, am I correct?
Yes,
And,
one was a teenager and one was a little girl. She was 5.
and both had severe mental illness. Can you take us back to the moment you began to realize that this journey was not just for her, but also for you?
I can. We entered into that journey of foster parenting just about as clueless as you could. I mean, truly, we adorably clueless. We thought the girls were going to be fine because we were good people and we had good educations and we were professionals and we were just going to love them.
Hmm.
And I we spent the first couple of months, it was the summer, and we spent the first couple of months getting the girls integrated into our family and trying to get them caught up on medical care and mental health treatment and dental care, all the things that they'd missed in their prior home. And we entered my oldest niece into high school, the local high school. And very early on in that school year, in middle September, I got a phone call from the school counselor telling me I needed to come pick her up because she was suicidal and she had a plan.
Wow.
And I said, what should I do? And she said, well, you
Hmm.
should take her to the emergency room.
Hmm.
And that was the first of many, many trips to the emergency room and stays in the psychiatric unit. And um, the fear that I felt in that moment and the overwhelming sense that I had absolutely no idea how to do this was intense, and it just got worse.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here you are dealing with attempts suicide, hospitalization, schools calling you up. Um, Everything is spinning out of control for you because you're wondering how did we get here? But many people that we speak to kind of have a sense of guilt um, when they feel they can't fix the problem of their loved one. As a dad myself, anytime my daughters come to me and they have something heavy going on in their lives and I can't fix it, I struggle with it. Like, hey, why can't I fix this? Did you have such struggles? And if you did, how were you able to battle that sense of guilt every now and then, feeling, oh, I felt these nieces of mine who have been put into my care. That's at all, if at all you went through that.
I definitely did. I felt absolutely alone and I felt confused. We had not gotten any training on how to deal with all of this until the girls had been with us for several months, was when we had our standard foster parent training, which didn't even come close to addressing the significant issues that my oldest niece dealt with. And I just had so much to learn and so much to unlearn too. She had come from a family where survival was the absolute goal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And she had learned at a very young age that you do what you need to do to
Survive.
survive.
Right.
And so in my family, for instance, lying is a character flaw. Lying is what bad people do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she would lie to me, I would be absolutely beside myself. Well, we don't lie in this family. How could you be lying to me? And meanwhile, she's just confused because she's
She's trying to
doing
survive.
what she's always done to survive,
Mm.
to get by. And so I had to unlearn some things, and I had to learn that's a coping skill. That's not a character flaw. And in the same way, I had to learn about mental health, that mental health isn't a character flaw. I didn't think that it was, but I didn't know what it was really. I mean, honestly, my mental health education had come from People magazine, really, up until that point, right? Like which wasn't very much back then.
Yes.
We didn't talk about it. And so
Mm.
here I was, this suburban mom with 4 little kids that I was taking to the elementary school every day and picking them up on the playground at the end of the school day. And the other moms on the playground are talking about fractions and potty training. And I'm thinking about, I just found another stash of pills. I know the older one is going to try to overdose. Do I tell her that I found the pills? Do I not tell her I found the pills? Like, it was an incredibly isolating time. And it was years before we found any sort of help for ourselves. And it was, I'll tell you, nobody told me to go get help for myself. Nobody said, hey, girlfriend, raising kids with mental health issues, that's too hard. You shouldn't be doing that without professional help.
Support,
And
yes.
so as parents, we feel like we've got to just muscle through this thing. We've just got to tough it out and grit our teeth and any other cliche you can think of.
Right.
And that's dumb. It's too hard. So that's one of the reasons that I do the work I do, is to make sure that people know you don't need to do this by yourself. That's not necessary. Life is better on the other side of getting the help and support that you need. And if you love somebody with serious mental health issues, you're having your own journey and your own experience that's going to require some support.
So how did you navigate through it though, without losing yourself, or did you lose yourself?
I had a really good support group of friends. Okay. I have an amazing husband who is incredibly supportive. We have a very tight faith community, a church that we belong to that was supporting us and loving us. But I felt alone a lot. And I felt like maybe this was never going to get better. I mean, there was a long period of time that it was very reasonable to think that the girls might not survive their trauma and their mental health issues. And so then you have to figure out, okay, well, if that's a likelihood, what is success? Well, I had to come to the decision that success was those girls knowing that they were loved. Even if they didn't make it, even if their mental health issues caused them to end their own lives. And that was a very real possibility for a long time. If they knew they were loved, we'd done what we could do.
Wow.
Now, we also surrounded them with medical treatment and mental health treatment and activities that supported their interests and helped them grow into who they were supposed to be.
Right.
But at the bottom line was sometimes you have to figure out what success looks like. And for us, some days that was it.
Whew. Sounds like a lot.
It was a lot, Ike.
Sounds like a lot. But thank you. Thank you for just stepping up, because you didn't have to do that, really. You could have found a reason why you can't handle it. But just on behalf of anyone else who's out there, I just want to say thank you to you, Tara. We need more
Appreciate that.
We need more Taras in the world who can step up and look beyond themselves to be out there to help other people. And I think that will make this world a better place. When we have more people stepping up to handle that. In your work, based on the experiences you've had, you now help companies create healthier spaces where employees can make sure that their mental well-being is intact. What are the biggest issues you see out there in the workplace, real time?
You know, I think some of the biggest issues come from the same issues we face as a society. People don't know how to talk about this. And as a consequence, they frequently just don't. And if you're an employee walking in the door and your child is at home from school again because their anxiety was too severe for them to go to school, or you're an employee trying to finish a quarterly report, but you're worrying about your spouse because their bipolar disorder is flaring and you are afraid they're going to have another episode, or you are walking in the door with your own depression hanging over you like a black cloud that will not move. The difference between being able to be honest with your manager about what's going on, or your coworkers, or your team members, and then get on with your work, or having to hide all of that while pretending like everything's fine and get on with your work. The difference there in terms of, honestly, productivity is tremendous. Employee retention and loyalty, tremendous. If we can treat our people, how many companies say, well, our people are our best asset, right?
Yeah.
We all say that. Okay, so are you taking care of that asset? Do they have a space where they feel like they can be real with their managers about what's going on? Can they have that conversation and be met with understanding and support? It's human connection at its most basic level. But so many times I speak to organizations and the employees will give me this response. Arms crossed, kind of skeptical, and they'll say, well, this is all great, Tara, but if I tell my manager what's really going on, they're going to let me go, or they're not going to support me. They don't know what to say. And so we need to do a much more aggressive job of educating our leaders and our managers about how to have these human conversations so that they can support their people.
Do you think most employers really care? Do you think they truly and honestly care? Or is it just another buzzword in the corporate world that people, based on your experience?
Yeah. I want to believe that they really care. I do. I want to believe that the missing piece is truly just education and comfort level. When I speak one-on-one with managers or with leaders or with executives, they really do want their people to do well. Now, I have the added benefit of also being able to share with them that doing this right will also positively affect the bottom line. And that's true. There's data there. There's numbers there. I can back that up. But I think that at the end of the day, most of us really are wanting to do the right thing.
Mhm.
But a topic like mental health, I mean, we don't know what to say. And so either we say nothing, which is hurtful. That silence can be hurtful even if we don't intend it to be.
Mm.
Or we wind up falling back on trite sayings that aren't helpful, or making suggestions like, well, I hear if you just smile more, you'll feel better,
Right.
or have you tried meditation?
Hmm.
Maybe you should get a dog.
Hmm.
We have
As
these
long-
knee-jerk kind of easy responses that we go to, and they're not really helpful. When
Hmm.
too many times the helpful thing would be to say, I really want to know how you're doing. It seems like maybe something's off. It seems like you're having a hard time. And then when they share with you, it's okay to
Mhm.
say, that's hard. I don't know what to say to that, but I'm here to help and I'm not going anywhere. We can say that and it's okay. And
Yes,
that's helpful.
it's I. I'm listening to you, and all I can think about is my famous line that I give out to folks when they come to me with this, and I always say to them, "It's okay not to be okay. It is always okay not to be okay. What is not okay is you not being okay and not seeking for help or some kind of
That's
support
right.
in
That's right.
all the right places." Um, but you found also a tool that you use to help people, humor. How did you get to using humor to deal with heavy issues like mental illness and mental health?
So it's a huge part of who I am. It's hard for me to get through a conversation. I'm doing pretty well today, but it's hard for me to get through a conversation without, a wise crack or a smart remark of some kind. But at one point, when my niece was in a long-term residential treatment facility, I had gotten a part-time job working with families with mental health issues and was in a very long training that was very serious, and I was acting out a little bit. And somebody else in the training said, hey, we just started this stand-up comedy program to help people deal with their mental health issues through stand-up comedy, and you should come along and do it as a family member. And so I did. It was incredibly powerful. It was incredibly therapeutic, and it was beyond fun. And I've been doing it on and off ever since. And I incorporate a tremendous amount of humor when I speak professionally, because guess what? If you're laughing, you're learning and you don't even know it's happening. And also, it's harder for people to be nervous. It reduces the tension in the room if you can use some appropriate humor. And so I do that. I even, I just published a book for parents of kids who are suicidal. There's even humor in the book. And if you can put humor in a book about that topic,
Right.
it's important though. It's important. We have to laugh at the ridiculous parts of life. That's part of getting through.
If you are laughing, you are learning. All right, I want to learn. Make me laugh. Let's go. I mean, I think that's a very unique tool to actually, or skill for one to learn how to put humor to these serious issues. Um, I think it's a very soft and smart vehicle to put some heavy weight on. You know, the
Yeah.
heaviness of mental health is there and all that stuff, and then you're not you're not undermining how serious the issue is.
No.
It's just the approach that you're using to get the message across. Humor. And you said
Have you ever been to the emergency room? Have you ever
yes,
had to go to the emergency room?
yes, I have.
Okay. So you know that maybe nothing in what brought you to the emergency room is funny. Whatever it is that brought you there is obviously inherently serious. But
Correct.
there is some ridiculous stuff about that experience, right?
Right.
Like the grumpy lady who meets you at the desk
Mhm.
and checks you in, or the age of the magazines in the waiting room,
Yeah, it's
or
awesome. Yeah.
right, or just looking around the space and seeing the other people there. There's some humanity in that room with you.
There is. Yeah.
There's stuff to laugh at, and
Yeah.
when we can do that, it gives us some energy and some juice to get through the rest of that experience.
Wow. See, listening to you now, I'm not sure if you watched the Jeremy Fox on Netflix, his new
His new
stand-up.
special.
Yeah,
I
special
did.
when he came back
I
from his
sure did.
yes, and he said that he realized quickly that if he can keep on cracking these jokes, then he can make it. So the more he made people laugh with whatever was going on in his world at that time, which was not funny, the more he felt he could make it. And the more he kept on cracking people up and making them laugh, and the nurses and the doctors and everything else, and then started making himself laugh, he found out that there is hope that he can come up from the serious illness that he just had. And I remember listening to him like, wow, that is very powerful because humor is part of who we are, you know.
Yeah,
And I'm listening to you
absolutely.
now, and you're saying the same thing.
The way I have experienced it is, it's the difference for me between being the victim of these circumstances that are happening to me. I have no control over them. They're happening to me. It's literally somebody else's illness, somebody else's experience, somebody else's trauma, and it's happening to me.
Hmm.
But if I can take that, if I can find the ridiculous in it, and if I can wield that on stage in front of other people to make them laugh, I'm
Hmm.
in charge. It's now me that's
Control. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
in control. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's fair. And then to take that and use it for good, to bring joy to other people, it's powerful.
We're gonna take a break right there. Come back in a few seconds. I like where we just are. We're in a good place. Using humor to take control of serious situations in our lives and make it powerful. Let's take a break. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to the BNS podcast. My guest today is Tara, who is in Oregon, Portland. We have been talking about dealing with mental health, her role, what she does personally, and also professionally. And we just landed on humor. And using humor as a very strong form of therapy. Um, do you do you have your own, for lack of a better word, clinic where you see patients outside of no no? So you're not a
No, no, no. In fact, no. In fact, I've not been, I need to be clear. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm a parent.
right.
I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I don't treat people. I share what I've learned, and I certainly make sure that it's accurate. My
Mhm.
new book was reviewed by psychiatrists and therapists, and but I am not a mental health professional. I'm not a therapist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm a mom.
There you go. And listen, believe me or not, I know that moms is that's a CEO role in any home because that's not a joke to be a mom. It takes a lot. You're juggling so many things, wearing so many hats, and using so many different skills just to navigate a family. So kudos to you as a mom, uh, and to all the moms out there, we say a big thank you. Tara, talk to me. Where Let's talk about your book, and then we'll tell our
Sure.
audience where they can find your book.
The book is called, it's a very straightforward title, Ike, because I wrote it so that people could find it when they were searching online, honestly. The book is called What to Do Right Now When Your Child is Suicidal.
Wow.
And the whole point of the book is that there is nothing available for parents whose kids are actively suicidal. There's a lot of information available for kids, um, maybe who have mild anxiety or depression. And there are certainly resources available for parents and families who've lost someone to suicide, but there's not really anything available for parents who are walking that journey right now. whose kid wants to die today or who wanted to last week. And as I said, it's a very lonely place to be as a parent, and it's a terrifying place to be as a parent.
Mm.
And there's a lot of hope. If you can learn the skills to walk alongside your child effectively, you get to be a part of their healing instead of being an obstacle to their healing.
Right,
And
right.
sometimes, let's be honest, as parents, we mess up and we can get in the way of what our kids need. And I certainly did and do, probably still to this day, for sure. So the book is about learning how to walk with your kid when they can't see a point to living. And for some kids, that's a short period of time. For some kids, they have a hard patch and maybe they have a suicidal episode that's short in duration. You get them help and then they get better. But for some kids and for a lot of adults, having suicidal thoughts is a very normal part of the human experience. Doesn't mean it's okay. Doesn't mean they don't need help. But 1 in 5 teenagers this year will contemplate suicide.
1 in
1
5.
in 5.
That's a serious
1 in
number.
5. It's the second leading cause of death for our young people.
Wow.
And yet parents aren't getting any training or support on how to handle that. And we don't talk about it, that's for sure. You don't go to the soccer game and talk to your friends on the sidelines about that. And so I just deeply want every parent who knows that this is where their child is to get a copy of this book, to be told about this book, to find this book, so that they know that they're not alone.
Wow. What to do when your child is feeling suicidal?
What to do right now when your child is suicidal.
Wow. How's it doing? How's the book doing?
It's doing okay. It launched last week on Amazon and was top new release in a few different categories for teen health and depression. And so far so good. Yeah.
That's good. My day job, I wear the hat of a CEO for an organization that works with families and individuals who are part of the autistic community with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a lot of different behaviors show up. I see families going through a lot of distress. I also see moms, especially for some reason, I don't know why fathers seem to be in denial of it, but moms, getting drained out because of working with their loved one, and some of them don't have the professional skills to navigate or create interventions for the individual who is on the spectrum. As a mom, can you take a minute and look in the camera and talk to other mothers that might find themselves in this particular position, where they feel drained and feel like giving up? No one's listening, no support. Please just take a minute as we wrap up the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can do that as the mom of a child who is on the autism spectrum.
Oh,
Because
really?
my middle daughter, who lives with major depressive disorder and has dealt with suicidality, has both ADHD and is on the spectrum. And if that's you as a mom and you're in that position, the first thing you need to do is do not roll your eyes at me when I tell you to take care of yourself. Do not roll your eyes at me. I know you want to, but if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't love our kids well. We can't be the mom that our kids need. And that goes for dads as well. But the first thing we need to do is take care of ourselves and figure out what that means. Does it mean we need to sleep better? Does it mean we need to focus on putting healthy things into our bodies to fuel them? Does it mean we need to go to the movies on a Thursday afternoon all by ourselves? It's not selfish. It's not self-indulgent. It's not a luxury. It is baseline necessity for being a good parent. So that's the first thing I would say is take care of yourself. Don't be afraid to do it. Step into that and own it, because otherwise you're not going to be able to be there for your kids.
Self-care. That's what I hear you saying.
Self-care.
Take care of yourself. Self-care. Wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much. All right. We're coming to the end of the podcast. I have two questions for you. One is an easy one, and the other one might be a little difficult one. So let's start with the easy one first.
Bring it on.
What would you say to your 21-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
My 21-year-old self.
I love it.
I would say life is going to be so much harder than you have any idea. And it's going to be beautiful all at the same time. So all of the things that you think are important to worry about right now, knock it off because they don't matter. Just surround yourself with people who are going to love you and support you, and you do the same back to them.
Wow. Well said. Woo, I like that. Well said. Okay. So that one was that's the easy one.
Oh, yikes.
Just messing with you. So there's something I saw on flying in back into the US on the plane and watching the podcast, and they had this drop-off question, and it goes like this: there's a drop-off question. The person who was on the show the week before you come on was asked to ask a question to whoever the guest is going to be.
Oh.
They don't know who you are. They don't know your race. They don't know your gender. They don't know your marital status, demographics. They don't know anything about you. They don't know what country you come from. They just know that there's going to be a new guest. And then they ask a question. Now, you have to answer that question. And then you give us your own drop-off question. So whoever's coming in, he, she, whatever it is, they get to ask the question. So the question was, how did you end up where you are now? That's all the question is. That was what they asked.
By continuing to step into where I felt like my gifts and my pain were merging.
Wow.
Because if I can take my gifts for speaking and writing and communicating, and I can merge that with the pain I've been through as a mom and as a family member of people with mental illness, that's where I can make the biggest impact in the world.
Wow. That's real powerful.
And it's where I'm supposed to be.
I like that. That's good. That's very good. You're where you're supposed to be. Now you ask the question to the next guest who's going to come after you. What question would that be?
I'm going to play off the name of the podcast, Ike, because I think we all get broken. So for the next guest, what was the thing that prevented you from shattering in that worst moment? And how would you offer that to other people?
What prevented you
from shattering?
And there's a follow-up question. And how would you offer that to others? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Tara. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the conversation. I love it.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to share with our guests before we wrap up? Where can they find you?
They can find me on my website, which is my name, tararolstad.com. Okay. And they can find the book on Amazon. What to do right now when your child is suicidal.
Wow. I wish you all the best with the book sale. And I pray that people get to hear this. On an average Sunday, we get about 1,000 people live watching. Sundays. Yep. Watching. So who knows how many people are going to reach out to you across the globe. And hopefully your book would be something that could help them in advance before they even get to this point of having a loved one trying to commit suicide. In the last couple of years, I've done a lot of work in this mental health space. First as what do you call these calls, like a DSP providers, and rise to the ranks of a CEO of an organization called Autism Ally Group. You can check us out. We're heavy in autism in the Maryland, DC, and Virginia area. So just want to thank you so much for the work that you do as a caregiver, from one caregiver to another. God bless you. Same to you. Whew. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ike. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you. So we're going to end the
All
show, guys. Just please make sure you follow us on Instagram and all our socials. And please don't forget to click the notification button, share, like, whatever it is. Send in a message to Tara. Tell her how much she's been a blessing to you and a blessing to the platform also. So in our famous 3 words as we wrap up today's show, love, peace, and more grace. Take care and see you next week. Same time. God bless. Bye. Thanks, Tara.